Hello, my name is Oscar. I study at the Pan American University of Puerto in the Faculty of Education and Humanities School of Modern Languages. In today's video, I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the main concepts and definition for transformational grammar. So in linguistics, transformational grammar is a model of grammar proposed by a research tradition of generative grammar. And generative grammar is basically, again, a research tradition in linguistics that looks for a way to explain the cognitive basis of language. And it looks to do such a thing by testing and formulating models of human subconscious grammatical knowledge. So in this way, the transformational grammar comes to be by generative linguistics. So in a nutshell, transformational grammar comes from a research tradition of linguists that believe that language knowledge, meaning the capacity for communication and for language, for speech, is innate for the humans, and that during the development, during the early years in childhood, we merely learn the different rules of each individual tongue by different processes, but all of the capacities or necessary capabilities for language that include a vast amount of knowledge is actually innate. So let's look at a few interesting and core concepts to transformational grammar so we can understand this a little bit better. So we must talk then about deep structure and surface structure. In transformational grammar, each sentence has two levels of representation. Because again, we were speaking earlier about the creation of grammatical models, and this is done in a almost mathematical way, where words are classified by function, and that function has a term assigned that is used or represented in a formula, practically. So this is why I say that this is almost mathematical, because there is a representation of language in a formulaic way. And transformational grammar, some of the things that it does is that what that it proposes is the study of switching different terms of the equation, to inverse them, and to apply then different grammatical rules to achieve different outcomes for sentences and the expression of different meanings. So again, turning back to deep structure and surface structure. The deep structure represents a sentence core semantic relations and is mapped onto a surface structure which follows the sentence's phonological system very closely. And these deep structures are generated by phrase structure grammars using, as I said, rewrite rules. So by looking at how these different terms of the equation can interact with one another and can be switched around to form different meanings, that's how the language is studied and the different grammatical rules are are presented. So again, in the subject of transformations, one very common example is that subject auxiliary inversion in the case of English. So when a declarative sentence such as Luke has run from his responsibilities, for example, a declarative sentence, but via transformations we can take basically one of the terms of the equation, the word has, which is a modal verb, and as the word says, make an inversion and have it at the beginning of the sentence, and we can transform the declarative sentence into an interrogative sentence. So has, beginning with has Luke run from his responsibilities, instead of Luke has run from his responsibilities. So again, in the visual, in the representation of this sentence, we will have a simplification of each word, but not the word per se, but their categorization by function. So for example, noun, auxiliary verb, and so on and so forth, and we can have then different transformations and different outcomes to those transformations. So then again, to wrap up, it is important to understand the position of transformational grammars in regards to the innate linguistic knowledge. There are many distinctions that this theory makes in regards to this, and it mainly presents a perspective where, again, the linguistic knowledge is mostly innate, and during the development as a baby and after as children, we merely acquire the particular rules of our setting, our physical setting, by different cognitive processes, but we hold innately a vast amount of linguistic knowledge. So this was my very brief explanation about transformational grammar. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.